Welcome to Cooler Than You Think. Stories from America's coolest hometown.
Hi, I'm Amanda Livingston. I'm the Director of Tourism for the Smith County Tourism Association, and I'm very excited to be launching our new podcast mini-series about the town of Marion. We're talking about its history and some of its untold stories, and today we're going to be talking about the birthplace of modern Mountain Dew. And I have with me today Mr. Joe Ellis, who is one of, I think, Marion's experts on this history and has been working on telling this story for quite a while. So thank you so much for being with me here, Joe. And kind of wanted to kick things off and say, how did you first become aware of Marion's history with Mountain Dew?
I started a project, kind of a little personal project in 2000 when NAFTA hit this region. And I'm in the software business, is my main business, and was globally. So I was protected, so to speak. My revenue did not come from here. But being a native who loved these mountains and these people, I became very concerned. And so I was elected to be the head of the industrial board here. And my software was focused on talent management. That's a concept that my little company here created, talent management, which is now multi-billion industry. And part of that is human capital. And with human capital, you can grow, create. So we differentiated between just normal monetary capital is not being as critical as it was in the first century. Your big countries with big banks were the place where all the money was, is where things grew. But human ability was going to be the up and coming thing. So how do we recruit people? How do we get people to come here and live? How do we get our kids to come back like I did and to stay and to grow and have opportunities? And it all is about what attracts those people is amenities, Starbucks, restaurants, theaters. And so it became obvious that we had to kind of transition from a sleepy mountain town that made pajamas and furniture to more skilled labor. And as we looked at that, it became a realization that tourism was a way to help bring in the amenities and the foot traffic. So that foot traffic became, okay, chicken and the egg.
Right.
We get those amenities. Do we get the tourism first, or do we try to get the business to locate? And so we decided to focus on tourism. And in doing so, I came up with a funny PowerPoint that I thought was more cartoonish, but it's become kind of famous in its own right, because Joe's magnetic theory of tourism. And that's only because I was a novice. And I said, we need to attract people, so we need people magnets. And tourism is about attracting people. And what is the strength of a tourism magnet? And that strength is uniqueness.
Yeah.
And so it led to the thought of, how do we identify what's unique to our town? Because no one would drive 100 miles to eat at McDonald's if it's in their own neighborhood. Right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at that time, we looked at our town as what's missing for us, but everybody else had it. So it was really not a magnet. And the properties of these tourism magnets is the fact that historically, architecturally, natural, like Mount Rogers and its diversity, whatever is unique that you can't find anywhere else is a bigger strength and a bigger pull. And the more of these you find, you can sum them, it multiplies, like squares them and their strength. So the asset, go ahead.
Yeah. So you identified, I think what I'm hearing is that you started looking for things that are unique to Marion, and you started compiling your list of those. And not to digress too much, but I know you identified some of the others and have invested in those. So kind of what would you just, if you were going to do kind of what are the top 5 things that you do view as those attractors for Marion?
Yes. The very first one I hit was the Lincoln Theater that you're very familiar with. And in the research, seeing it as a boy, you didn't think it was that unique, because he thought everybody had one.
Right.
And so I remember when I watched Song of the Mountains as a PBS series, I was at a Ralph Stanley Museum when it opened. And the locals were saying, what's the big fuss about Ralph Stanley? I've been with him since the 3rd grade. Why does everybody think he's so special? Because you see Ralph every day.
Right.
So the theater, when I researched it with some other team members, there was only like 12 or 13 ever built. And there was 3 left on the face of the earth, and none of them had been restored.
Yeah.
So that would be a Mayan temple theater, would be something very unique. And
for if by some chance somebody stumbles across this podcast and has not been inside the Lincoln Theater, you have to drop what you're doing, pause this podcast,
yes,
go Google. If you're not driving, if you're driving, please be safe. But you need to go Google the interior pictures of the Lincoln Theater to truly get a sense of what Joe is talking about, because it is, I mean, it's spectacular. You would have no idea that existed in Southwest Virginia.
And I want to throw in there that not only is it appealing to your eyes, it's unique as a theater because the company that built its main business in the 1920s was opera houses and Broadway shows. So they built it like an opera house. So when you go there to hear a band, you'll not get that same sound in any other theater. So it's an intimate kind of place. And so it's beautiful and it's pure in the acoustic sense.
Yeah. So we've got the Lincoln Theater as a unique attraction. We've got obviously Mountain Dew, which we're gonna get to, and then
the next one was the hotel.
Yes,
the General Marion Francis Hotel that was built in 27. C.C. Lincoln built the hotel in 27, a famous entrepreneur here, and then he built the theater in 1929. So they're kind of like our Marion bookends.
Yeah.
The hotel has its own beautiful architecture. It's kind of a French revival architecture, and so it's got beautiful marble and it's got kind of a mosque look to it.
Yeah.
So I bought the hotel and restored it. It opened in 2006. So if you come to see the beautiful theater, stay at the beautiful hotel.
We'll give that plug. It is really spectacular. I have stayed there and it's great.
So then it wasn't an actual building. The next thing was music.
Right.
We were going through the Brother, Where Art Thou kind of time frame.
Yeah, which is huge.
And so we identified the bluegrass Americana music roots being in our region.
Yeah.
And so with Wayne Henderson and all those great artists, we created a TV series and launched it in 2005, May of 2005.
Right. So another big anniversary this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was it's supposed to have been a pilot that we thought would have 3 stations that would pick it up in Virginia. We were just trying to get the Virginia stations, and it went across the nation. Yeah. So Song of the Mountains has now it's in its 21st season, longer than Gunsmoke.
Wow.
And we just had a lot of fun. And what makes it unique, when you talk about our town, all these projects are very unique in terms of small town America. The theater was an effort of 83 volunteers. Some of them actually painted things in the theater.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Song of the Mountains, we were comparing our budget to another great show on PBS that's done in a cave over in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great show, but our budget is 1/20th of theirs.
Yeah.
Because we're volunteers. That whole TV series is put on with mainly volunteers. And so now that we're going for the Mountain Dew, which was the next thing we identified, what other town has a national drink that was invented in their hometown?
Now this, so that was, I know that was not about Mountain Dew, but I think that was really important because, again, what you're saying about things that are unique. And if you think about, McDonald's value is it's the same everywhere across the globe. That's what they say. So the polar opposite, sort of philosophically, is these things you're talking about. So Mountain Dew you identified. Now I know some folks have heard, Knoxville, Tennessee, Johnson City, Tennessee, claim to be the home of Mountain Dew. But so tell me about some of the things that you have discovered that put Marion in that story, and why Marion.
Sure. It took some time because Mountain Dew, Mr. Jones, who's now accredited for the modern Mountain Dew, the one that everybody drinks.
And that was Bill Jones,
Bill Jones,
working in Marion, and he was a soft drink bottler.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay, yeah.
Well, a flavor, yeah.
He was a flavor creator.
Yes, yeah. The syrup, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Didn't actually bottle anything, but the syrup.
The syrup.
And so, and then the written records took a long time to find the parts and pieces to be able to authenticate the story.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of legend. Legend says, and we want it to be official. We didn't want to be a Loch Ness monster.
Right. He said, she said, or yeah.
Yes. And so it took about almost 9 years and thankfully his two daughters did a great job of helping me find all the parts and pieces so that we could authenticate the story. So it starts out if you start with Mountain Dew, it started in Knoxville with the Hartmans, Allie and his brother. See, I have his name written down here.
And that's the brand Mountain Dew. When you say it started in Knoxville, so that's the soda that they were selling. The name of it was Mountain Dew.
Yes, yeah. And in the I found a great book that was written, and what made it so great was with Hall was the Pepsi bottler of Marion Bottling, and he bottled Pepsi products. So he bottled Mountain Dew in all of its forms. So he's considered as an expert.
Yeah.
He also was on the board of trustees as one of the stockholders of TIP. So he owned Mountain Dew. And
the TIP Corporation, which owned Mountain Dew. Yes. Okay.
And so in his book, he talks that Mountain Dew was bottled mainly for the friends of the Hartmans as a mixer for moonshine.
Which for those who, I think this is pretty common knowledge at this point, but for those who don't know, Mountain Dew is a nickname for moonshine. So that was, give me that good old Mountain Dew, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the TIP Corporation was started in the early 40s, and its main thought was to do something called TIP, which was a version of Grape Hat. You heard of Orange Crush?
Okay, yeah.
They're not very prominent today, but they were big names.
It was kind of the Wild West of soft drinks back then. I mean, now we kind of think, okay, well, it's Pepsi or Coke, and that's kind of but it was, I mean, when I'm hearing you list all these soft drinks or these pops, if you're from the Midwest, I mean, there was something like every town had their own flavor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mr. Church, who founded TIP, that was his main theme of business, and he hired Mr. Jones, who was a flavor salesman, and he sold flavors to drugstores. Back then, most compounds were made in the drugstores, not like we have today.
Right.
And so they were formulated and flavored to be palatable. So Mr. Jones had kind of a gift for flavors, not necessarily soft drinks to start with. And so he was hired, and then it flopped, Grape Hat, and TIP almost went bankrupt. And Mr. Jones went out to reformulate the corporation. And he found 5 investors. He found Allie Hartman of Knoxville, who was the original, he and his brother Herman of the original Mountain Dew. And right now, Mountain Dew on their cans is commemorating by putting that year that they created it,
right,
and registered it. He got Herman Menges of Lumberton and his brother Richard Minges. They were both Pepsi bottlers of North Carolina, very large bottling companies. And those two brothers own the museum, the Pepsi Museum in Newbern,
Okay.
which is a replication of a drugstore there,
Yeah.
the original drugstore. And then he had Mr. Hull, who wrote this book. And those were his five investors, each putting up $1,500. And from there, they wanted to do something. And so the Hartman, Mr. Eiley Hartman, offered to give Tip Mountain Dew licensing as intellectual property, him and his brother. So they offered it. It's in the notes of the board meetings to Tip.
So they gave it away.
They gave it away, according to Mr. Hull, who was there.
Yeah.
And reportedly, it was given away for a steak dinner.
So if you think about how many cans of bottles of Mountain Dew are on shelves these days all over the world, and you think that is one of those, if you had hindsight to go back and say, I bet that steak was great, but was it really worth the trade?
Yes.
Yeah.
And from there, they formulated a lemon lime version. So that was the second generation of Mountain Dew,
Mm-hmm.
lemon lime version. And they sold it to their Pepsi bottling friends. Mr. Hull bottled it. The Minges brothers bottled it.
Mm-hmm.
And it did okay until Pepsi came out with Team, a lemon lime drink. And according to Mr. Hull, they prohibited any Pepsi bottler of having any other lemon lime drink except for Team. And so that killed the Mountain Dew second generation sales. And so Mr. Hull and the group decided to come up with a new flavor. They weren't thinking Mountain Dew at all. Just we got to find something new to compete with.
Right.
And there was a beverage that came out of St. Louis called Sundrop. And they thought that was interesting.
Right.
And so Sundrop got away with not being lemon lime because it had a percentage of orange juice. And so it wasn't a lemon lime drink, it was a lemon lime orange drink, which got around the legal ease.
Right.
So they decided to formulate their new drink with orange juice, is what the daughters told me, and is what's said in the book. And so they created this new drink. And how Marion is different than any place else, because this didn't happen with Pepsi or Coca-Cola or anybody else, is that Mr. Jones used our town again. It's the coolest town for any reason other than it is. Our citizens participated daily in taste tests.
So he was essentially using the town of Marion as his focus group for this new flavor, this new syrup that he was creating.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
Wow.
And 60s. Yeah. So he went to several drugstores that had lunch counters, as well as he would invite people over for dinner or whatever, cookouts. He was constantly trying and adjusting. And one of the anecdotal stories that's in Mr. Hull's book is, and I found it in another place, was that he and Mr. Jones were friends, but he's very protective of his bottling company. And Mr. Jones needed the bottling company to make his samples. And so, according to Mr. Jones' accountant, he would look out the window until With drove off the parking lot. The buildings were next to each other.
Oh.
He'd go, he's gone. And he'd run down to the bottling company and stop it and start making Mountain Dew samples.
Living on the edge, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And that's why we chose the location for the modern Mountain Dew Museum to be in a drugstore that was a part of the taste testing. It was then called Marion Drug.
So this is a big announcement. So I definitely want to, it's not a secret, but I think this is something people are going to be really excited to hear. So I want to hear more about the museum. But before, if you would explain when you say modern Mountain Dew. So we've heard you say there were different, it was the Wild West. People were doing different flavors all over different towns. But when you say modern Mountain Dew, if I go into the gas station or the, grocery store right now and I grab a bottle of Mountain Dew, is that the same flavor that was created in Marion, Virginia?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I have an example here.
So no matter what came before and all these experiments that didn't work out, this is the one. This is the Mountain Dew.
Yes, right here.
I do, yeah.
What went in drugstores and clean stations, and it was called not modern, but new Mountain Dew.
Gotcha.
And the reason it was called new Mountain Dew was because Mr. Jones took a trip to North Carolina and to see the Menenges brothers. And he brought samples and they loved it. And they said, we'll bottle it on one condition. You call it Mountain Dew. And he said, why? They said, we don't want to buy new bottles. We got all these old bottles sitting in the warehouse of the old lemon lime drink. Let's just reuse them.
So they were just saving pennies. They were recycling the bottle. They already had the label on them and everything.
Everything.
Wow.
Yes. So Mr. Jones, according to his daughters, came home very dejected because he had thought of all these wonderful names.
Oh,
they didn't tell me them, but he
never got to use.
Never got to use.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, great for us. I think it really, the word Mountain Dew, it really expresses the essence and the history and the thoroughbredness of this drink.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very Appalachian story, right? Because moonshine is identified with Appalachia, and we're in the mountains, so it does. It makes sense. I understand why he would have been disappointed, but it did work out pretty well, I think.
Well, they called it the new Mountain Dew.
New Mountain Dew, yeah.
To differentiate it from the lemon lime.
Gotcha.
Version.
But yeah. But I think that's what's kind of cool is history buffs are going to love kind of diving into all of the various iterations. But, I think what I really want people to take away is that when we say the birthplace of modern Mountain Dew, the drink that people are enjoying, the original, what we think of as the original, was invented, right there in Marion, Virginia.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the help of our townspeople.
With the help of the townspeople, the original focus groups. So I stopped you, but I really wanted to talk about, history is wonderful and reading a book is great, but being able to see it and experience it is kind of to come back to your idea of the laws of the tourism attraction. Up until very, very recently, we as Marion have not had any way for people to experience that story. And so I guess talk a little bit about, you mentioned the plaque, which is very recently unveiled, and then kind of what's going to come next.
Briefly on the plaque, there's a group of people who worked very hard. The sisters, Ken Heath was instrumental in that. And we were able to collect the information. To go to the Historic Society, it's almost like presenting a court case. Here's the evidence, and to make sure, because anybody can say anything, right? Right,
but this is verifiable information. There's a certain standard of proof.
So we got the plaque. It went up in May, and we had Pepsi here. They have embraced the fact that this, as a matter of fact, they gave us the go-ahead to use the modern Mountain Dew museum. So we were, and Pepsi was there. And so in anticipation of this, some of the entrepreneurs here bought a building, bought the old drugstore building. And I have some photographs you can show later on or pop up in this discussion of a drugstore that was built in the 40s. And we're going to tell the story of Mountain Dew and the story of Jones's and Menenges and kind of how it all came about in this museum. And we're very excited about it. We've benchmarked the Pepsi Museum in New Bern, and it's the exact footprint of the drugstore from the 1880s that Pepsi was invented in. And it's a very small footprint. It's very nicely done. and it gets 50,000 visitors. It's
Wow.
probably a sixth of the size of our building.
Yeah.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have Waco, Texas, that has a Dr. Pepper museum that gets 275,000 visitors, according to their website,
Yeah.
a year.
So this is still in the planning stages, the museum, right? But you've got a location. You said you've got
Yes.
the historic drugstore location
Yes.
on Main Street, Marion, and so
Yes.
although it's obviously still under construction and not open yet, sort of paint a picture. So when someone comes to visit Marion and they have that, they want to have that Mountain Dew experience, and they walk in the front door, what are they going to see?
The original soda fountain that was in the drugstore, where people actually sampled it. We're going to bring back the soda fountain. We're going to bring back the original menu of grilled cheese and tomato soup and floats and things. We're actually going to make ice cream there, and we're going to bring some local ice cream in.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to come in and to drink a Mountain Dew in the town, and a place where it all happens.
Yeah.
There also will be a gift shop. There'll be an experience that you can walk through. We've talked to Pepsi. We're trying to acquire all the Mountain Dew commercials and have kind of a historic walkthrough, and maybe some early Pepsi commercials too.
Oh,
So maybe
that would be cool.
a joint effort.
The branding has changed a lot over the years. I mean, if you go back and look at the original, I mean, there's there's a lot of like the hillbilly and what was the tagline? Is it'll tickle your innards.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was, they really, really leaned on that sort of hillbilly stereotype in the very early days.
Yeah. And so you'll get to see that whole transition. We want to take you down a little bit of what it was like to make soft drinks in general for that era.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things you're asking about, the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Just up the road, there is a little town that Dr. Pepper was invented in. And it's been given credit from Dr. Pepper, and it was done in a little drugstore. So
yeah,
in a very little area here, you have some really amazing things that we can show people.
Yeah.
The Menenges brothers are probably one of the largest bottlers now for Pepsi. They actually not only own plants in North Carolina, but they own a plant just up the road here in Wytheville.
Yeah.
So we want to tell that story. And then we plan to have Do Your Own Do.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Do Your Own Do is you can be Bill Jones. And we're going to give some syrups and things.
Yeah.
In which we're going to allow people to mix whatever they want to mix and carbonate it.
Oh, wow. Right there in the drugstore, the museum.
Right there in the drugstore and do your own do.
Yeah. So you can really sort of walk in and see if you can do better. Yes. See if you can improve upon the formula, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we think it'll be great for kids. We came up with the concept waiting for this museum. I think it was 2016 that we wrote it in a grant.
Yeah.
Do Your Own Do is something that we think should be inspirational, not just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been working on this for a long, long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we hope to, at the very end, talk a little bit about our town and some other interesting things that people may not know or would want to know about our town.
That's great. Well, so I think you kind of answered this for me a little bit earlier in the conversation, but I was going to ask, why are you passionate about Mountain Dew? But I think what I'm discovering is that you are passionate about Marion. Yes. and that this is part of Marion's story. So I guess would it be accurate to say that's kind of where your passion lies? Is it's not necessarily that you're a fanatic for a certain flavor of soft drink, but it's the story and the uniqueness.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. When I started Song of the Mountains, I luckily found a great partner or two, Sam Russell and a good friend of mine, and Tim White, in which they knew a whole lot about bluegrass.
Right.
And at that time, I didn't know any bands. I could probably quote the Beverly Hillbillies, Lester and Flat, someone I knew just from watching it, but respected the power, just like I look at Mountain Dew as a brand and as a soft drink and respect what it's done internationally. And so, so I've become more passionate about bluegrass. Tim White's a great friend of mine, and I've become more passionate about Mountain Dew. But the genesis of it was the coolest hometown, Marion.
And then telling those stories that is truly unique. Well, so if someone wanted to get a little bit more information about Marion, the birthplace of modern Mountain Dew, where do you think they should go look?
We have a nonprofit called the Magnetic Tourism Association.
Great.
And it's, I believe it's mta.org, I think. And from there will be links to the Mountain Dew Museum. And it's under construction, just like the building. So we're building it. So we're very excited. Where we're at in the process right now is we have just got our architectural estimates, and we're beginning to start the fundraising. I'll be making my first fundraising call next week. If you'd like to donate or help, there will be a link on that website.
Yeah, absolutely. Like as you said, I think a lot of these really spectacular improvements to Marion have been made by volunteers and with volunteer donations. So, so we'll absolutely let people get involved. So, well, I so appreciate it. This has been fantastic, and thank you for sharing the story. And
thank you for having me and having the whole. There's so many people that should be standing behind me. I'd like to let people know that it's a whole team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be sure and share that and share this and tag them. And I can't wait to go to the ribbon cutting when it opens, the museum. So.
Oh, one more thing, just real quick. Today is July the 27th, and in all my research, the first time Mountain Dew is mentioned in the meeting notes from all of Tip's board meetings is July 28th.
Really?
So we are going to make that. We cannot find any other way to designate Mountain Dew's birthday.
So that'll be the birthday of Mountain Dew. I will just say we had no idea. We did not talk about that before this interview, so I had no idea. This is the day the studio was available, and that's just...
I was prepping last night, and I was doing some extra reading, and I was like, how did I miss that? So
that is great.
28th.
Well, I think we need to then close this interview by saying, happy birthday, Mountain Dew.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Thanks, Joe.